Hey guys, Rob here. Firstly, I want to apologize for the game being hella washed out. It's I usually use Shadowplay to record, but this game's in beta and it doesn't want to support Shadowplay right now. So I'm able to record it with that codec by using OBS. I just used OBS and it tends to wash video out. Something fierce. So that's why it's seemingly super washed out. Now the game, Dead by Daylight. I've been following. I've been interested in a game like this for quite some time. There hasn't been one that's released with a lot of production value and stuff. So, firstly, I heard of. I think it was called Summer Camp or something. It was a game like a couple years ago that was announced that was going to be a PvP isometric or not asymmetric PvP game where one person plays as the killer and X amount of people play as survivors trying to escape. Summer Camp, I believe is what it was called, was heavily influenced by Friday the 13th. Something happened along the way a bit ago where the owners of Friday the 13th acquired the rights to Summer Camp, and then they pretty much just turned it into a full-on Friday the 13th game. There's been a lot of buzz about it recently. Dead by Daylight, however, has had some talk recently, and I noticed it a few months ago, and I was like, well, they had a Steam page. You can play it on Windows, and it's currently only available or slated for PC. Dead by Daylight, I was interested in it when I first saw it. There wasn't any like pre-order or anything, so I just threw it on my wish list and waited. And then I was playing a game of Overwatch with a friend, and then he was like, "Hey, there's this game that I was seeing that's being streamed on Twitch, something wicked, where it's like a serial killer game." And he knew it was like my bag, so he, I guess, told me about it. And I looked it up, and it was Dead by Daylight. And I saw it's up for pre-order. There's a basic edition where you just get the base game for $16, and then there's a deluxe edition where you get payday crap and 3 beta keys. You don't get any beta keys in the standard edition. I imagine they're going to do something towards the end of the beta period, which is between now or the day that it was released, the 31st, and the 12th. I imagine they're going to do something for people that own the base game between now and then. But as of right now, if you want to get a beta key, there's several ways, but there's 2 viable ways. There's buying the deluxe edition for $24 or $23.99 on Steam, which I'll link below. Or there's going through their website with this whole beta thing. I'll go over the beta thing first. Or the beta.deadbydaylight.com. It's a fairly easy way to get a beta key when it's up. You sign in with your Steam account, and then you link your friends to a special referral link where they watch the trailer, and then they click to save you, and if you get 3 people to do so, then you get a beta key. However, that's the first way I tried to get it, and it was ass. I have nearly 400 friends on Steam, but anybody that has any common sense on Steam knows, don't click any links anybody sends you, ever. Even if you know them like 100% and all that crap, just be like, link me in TeamSpeak or something. If you have some other way of doing it, just don't do it through Steam. Even though it could be like the same phishing thing and crap, it's best to use your own judgment. I personally don't like clicking any links in Steam ever, so I don't. So it was shitty. I linked a few people that I'm very close friends with. I don't blame them for not clicking it, but they were hesitant to do so. I had like one person click the link to do the whole thing for me. So I ended up not getting a beta key that way. I said fuck it, bought the whole deluxe edition, $24. And so I got my beta keys. I've been playing it for the past 2 days, and I've been loving it. I'm going to go through all that in a moment. But I want to preface this by saying this isn't a ripoff of the planned Friday the 13th game, in my opinion. Regardless, McLean, one of the people that's most in touch with the community from Behavior, which is a developer, Behavior is a developer being published by Starbreeze, McLean, to my knowledge, McLean stated that this game has been in development for the past 6 years. The validity of that, no one knows. I don't honestly care. I was hesitant of it at first. I mean, I was following a good bit and looking into it. I honestly think that it's a better game than Friday the 13th is going to be. As of right now, the depth of customization, ranking system, and everything, they put a lot of effort into this. A lot more than I could have. I'm a horror fan, obviously. If I were to make a game of this sort, I play a lot of games too. I probably wouldn't have thought of half of the things they did to this game that it helped with a lot of my worries for games like this. Like, I was afraid, like, oh, it's probably going to get old and stuff, but they put a lot into it. There's a nice item system, leveling system, rank system. It's randomly generated areas. They did a lot to it that really freshened it up. And even then, after playing it, from being hesitant, even then after playing the beta, if they didn't do half of those things, I would still be just as addicted as I am now. I'm addicted to it. I love, like, if I'm not playing it, I'm watching people play it. And it's hard, and it's a completely different experience watching somebody play it as opposed to playing it yourself. I wanted to play it myself before I watched anybody play it. But if you watch somebody play it after you play it yourself, you learn a lot. Like, you learn a lot of how to play. Like, when I first played it, I was fucking awful. And I watched a couple people play. I took a few things that they did into consideration, and it completely changed how I played it. But the core feelings that I get, which I thought it was a crock of shit. I heard people, say, like, a lot of people that are trying to pitch a game will describe it often as being, it's visceral, or they'll just try to really upsell it. I ignored all that. I played it. It is very, very fucking intense. It's very easy to get lost in it. And not like literally lost. The maps are fairly small, but it's very easy to get lost in the moment in it, and it's genuinely visceral. It is, right now, my favorite horror game I've played, and it's just the beta. And it has its bugs, it has its quirks and stuff, but the thing that's great about Behavior is they're spending an immense amount of time communicating with the people that are playing, and they're like keeping track of stats and whatnot, as like most developers do when they have a game in beta. They keep track of stuff, but they're really paying close attention to people's play styles and things like that. They're really taking into consideration the criticisms that avid players have, which is what I appreciate. Like, usually when a game comes out and developers want to hear feedback, they just listen to pretty much anybody that has any opinion, and the genuine concerns of avid players might fall to the side, whereas the developers from what I've seen are taking into consideration people that play avidly, and they're very on point with their assessments, and they're very passionate too. It's really refreshing to see, because I've seen games come and go in early access on Steam or that have been released, and the developers are really heavy into community engagement at first, and then they just stop at some point. Whereas with this game, I don't see them doing that in the near future. They have it set up in a way where there can be a lot of post-release content, which is what they said they're planning on. They said they're planning on adding things left and right, which is really nice. I definitely see potential for that. Given it's published by Starbreeze, there's a fiasco with Payday 2. I was a huge fan of Payday 2. I loved it. But I have no doubt in my mind there's going to be a lot of content. I'm going to be personally more wise with the content that I choose to purchase post-release, because I was a huge fan of Payday 2, and I bought nearly all the DLCs for it, and then it just got to a point where it was ridiculous, and half the community was getting burned. It's just this again. I feel completely different about this game. It's as a game, like the beta alone is such a satisfying experience. Like the time I put into the beta, I feel like I've gotten my money's worth so far, and that doesn't happen too often. Major point with the beta is if you do happen to get your hands on a key, or you buy the deluxe edition, get a beta key that way, know that the only way you can play with your friends is through a private lobby where there's all 5 players, like the killer, the killer and the 4 survivors. You can't group up with your friends as survivors and then queue against a random serial killer. And at first, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But the feelings, the game, in my opinion, is meant to be played by yourself with no communication with your teammates. I feel like that just, I can see that just killing the experience. Because the feelings of when you're on the hook and you don't know if your teammate, like you see your teammates around you, but you're like, are they going to go for you? And those moments where you see someone on the hook and it's like you and them, and you're the only ones, and the gates open, you can leave, and it's a much more, it's more intimate and more emotional than when you have a friend that you're playing with and they're like, help me, come on, what are you doing? Okay, I'm coming to get you, heal me, I'm over here. It's, while I can see how playing with your friends is, it would fit with the general theme of the game, because that's how, like, when in slasher movies and stuff, they're a group of friends. But it's like, it's how I would, it's in my opinion, if I was in that situation in real life or in a movie or something or whatever, that's how I would be reacting. Like, I wouldn't be saying shit to fucking anybody. Just be dead silence. Because at the end of the day, that's all it comes down to, is like your survival versus, their survival. While there are a ton of incentives to help your teammates, at the end of the day, it's about your survival. And when they alluded to that, or when they didn't even allude to that, they just outright said it in the dev diaries, I was like, I've heard like a lot of explanations and shit like that before, but I never really bought into it. I just figured, yeah, whatever. Playing it's completely different than, like, this is one of the few games I've played where the devs' intended experience is just gushing. Like, you get to experience it the way the devs intended, and it's amazing. It's just flat out amazing, and I love it. It's genuinely one of the best experiences I've had. I honestly probably wouldn't even play it with friends. I probably will here and there eventually when they do release the option, but I don't see myself going out of my way to queue up in lobbies for like 15 minutes playing that whole game to get in with friends. Because while it would be fun, it's just a completely different experience from doing that and just playing it by yourself in the moment, legitimately freaking out. And that is my opinion of this game so far. Like I said, I'm going to have links in the description. Subscribe if you like, leave a like if you like, dislike if you like, but thanks for watching.